Because if you ask 100 people, who do you think wins, Islam or Dustin? I bet you about 90 of those people are going to tell you Makhachev.
Islam is very good. Southpaw versus Southpaw, one guy who's much better at wrestling.
Against him, I just have to defend my neck from his guillotine, and that's it.
One thing, it was very close. This is guillotine. First time, it was very good guillotine.
And we'll see. You know, destiny doesn't make mistakes. If I'm supposed to be the world champion, I'll have that belt wrapped around me on June 1st.
Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright in the beautiful sea. I choose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky. You're a shooting star, I see a vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. I knew that we'd become one right away. One right away. At first sight, I felt the energy of sun rays. I saw the light inside your eyes.
Tonight, you and I, we're beautiful like diamonds in the sky.
Shine bright like a diamond.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another episode of INCS on MMA, and today we are going to be breaking down UFC 302.
Yes, indeed. Now we got a little bit of a change in location today, but it's always the same quality, never changes. You know.
Exactly.
Now let's get into this beautiful card of UFC 302.
Oh, sorry, this card has brought me to tears because it's the last time we're going to see Dustin Poirier
Oh, it might
fight
be.
for a championship belt.
It might be.
So, first and foremost, let's talk about the headliner of this card right
Yeah,
here.
let's dive in.
We have Islam Makhachev versus Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Now, let's be honest here. On paper, Dustin stands no chance. On paper, there is no way that he can win this. But if that diamond sparkles and that guillotine sings, Lord have mercy on my soul. Woo!
Oh my god! If Dustin gets the gilly, I will lose my mind, dude. I'll absolutely lose it. But you know, look, like you're saying, on paper, Dustin really shouldn't win this fight. Look, there's not much to say about both these guys. Islam Makhachev, he's been an absolute dominant force, keeps beating everyone in front of him. Dustin the Diamond, you know who he is, man. He's just an all-round tough fighter. He can do it everywhere. He's got skills everywhere, and just never count him out, though, man.
Exactly.
Never count him out.
So now we've noticed recently that Dustin Poirier has been weak to both the head kick that he just got knocked out by Justin Gaethje with.
But that is a Gaethje head kick, but fair enough.
Yeah, and submissions.
Yeah, true.
All right.
Yep.
He's lost 2 prior title shots via submission, and he's going up against a submission specialist who just knocked out one of featherweight's, you know, future pound for pound kind of like Hall of Fame featherweight champions in Alexander Volkanovski. And he just knocked him out. So for me, it's like we're in one of those situations where the styles matching up. It doesn't look very good for Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
But Dustin's got that dog in him.
Exactly, man. Like, you know, and Dustin just showed in his last fight. I mean, case in point. They put him up against Bernard Saint-Denis, this guy who's tearing through the lightweight division. They clearly wanted to try to propel him for title fight. Because let's be real, if he beat Dustin, he would be fighting for the belt right now. And Dustin just said, hang on, guys. I'm still here. I've still got skill. And he just knocked him out. And it was beautiful. So, yeah, man, look, this fight, hey, you never know. It's just a good fight, man. We love to see Dustin put up a scrap. I mean, if he gets a gilly, oh my God. He's going to shoot for one at least.
He has to.
He has to.
He has to.
But you're right, dude. It might be the final time we see him go for the title. It might be actually be his final fight ever. We don't know.
Might be, even if he wins. Even if he wins.
True. And Islam, it's like, there's nothing to say about Islam. If he wins, he might just move to welterweight. That's probably his next bet.
To become double champ.
Yeah, but look, he's Islam Makhachev. You know he's good. You know he's a powerhouse, but he's just a boring fighter.
So Islam Makhachev, if he wins this fight, he actually has the most title defenses out of all of the active champions at the moment, which shows a lot about like what the divisions have been doing recently and the fact that everything has just been so dynamic in MMA at the moment. Nobody's been able to like maintain a belt. He's coming off of finishes on his last 2 fights. He's looking better than he's ever looked. His stand-up is looking better than it has ever looked. His grappling is still unmistakably good. The one thing, though, that we have to talk about is this. Islam's only weakness is his ego and his arrogance.
True.
That's what got him knocked out. That's what got that one loss on his thing. He's been talking about allowing Dustin Poirier to get the guillotine just so that he can feel it. He's been talking mad shit prior to this fight. So I wonder, will the fact that Khabib has now moved over to the States and the UAE, specifically for this camp, will that help him out, or will Islam get a little bit cocky?
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, it's a good question. I think either way, Islam's the type of guy where, I mean, even if he's cocky for a reason, you know? So, hey, man, look, it's actually a tough fight to dissect because, like you said, I mean, on paper, this should be like, it's a one and done, you know? But, I don't know, dude.
Who knows?
Who knows?
And moving on to our co-main event for the evening, we have a middleweight bout between Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa. Now, this one is super interesting. Sean Strickland is the most recent ex-champion in the middleweight division. He could have just waited. He could have just waited until somebody gave him a title shot. But I think he understands the UFC doesn't work too well for people who wait. So he's going up against Paulo Costa, one of the funniest guys in MMA at the moment.
Yeah.
Paulo Costa has got one of the weirdest records. He's essentially had one fight a year for the last 3 to 4 years and maintained all of his esteem by tweeting and being active within the community. Any other fighter with that few fights would just, like, he would be plummeting right now.
So true. Like, honestly, I started, after the Izzy fight, when he was making all the excuses, I really hated him. But then I fell in love with him because of Twitter. You know, because this man's just hilarious. But, yeah, so, look, going at the fight, I think on paper, this sounds like a beautiful fight. This sounds like, oh yeah, we're going to see two dudes just slug it out. We're going to have a you know, like a slugfest. But I just want you guys to probably think about their last couple of performances. Now, I'm sorry, but I fully agree that Dricus won the fight simply on the fact that Sean Strickland can only do one thing, which is jab, 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 straight, jab, front kick, jab, straight. That's it, you know? And Paulo Costa, his last couple fights, I'm not going to say he looks gassed, but he has been slowing down. The Luke Rockhold fight, as awesome as it was, they just looked like two old men. And then the Robert Whittaker fight, again, he showed his age. He's looking a bit slower. He was not as powerful and is not as aggressive as we've seen him before with the Robert Whittaker fight.
Did he lose that fight?
He lost that fight. They're both coming off losses. So that's why I'm worried now that this on paper seems like a beautiful fight, but we might just get 3 rounds of like really slow, every now and then a couple of bursts of energy. But, you know, look, these guys lately haven't been looking the greatest. They've definitely both looked better before. But, hey man, it's all ifs, buts. They could come out and put on the best show fucking ever.
I also think Paulo Costa had imaginary power.
You think so?
Because he looked like this powerful, muscular dude. You're like, oh, Paulo Costa's going to be this knockout artist. And then when his career starts, he knocks out like Johnny Hendricks on his way out. And then 2 fucking scrubs. And then from there, it's been like decision. Oh,
true.
Oh, body kick, decision,
That's
body
true.
kick, body kick.
When has he when has he not won a decision? He actually got a point.
Yeah, Paulo Costa doesn't finish people. So he has this incredible body. So it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, this guy's going to knock people out. He's the eraser, da-da-da. But it's like, he hasn't done shit, dude. Sean Strickland has more finishes than Paulo Costa.
True.
So it's like, I don't know. Like, for me, as you say, I think this is going to be a pretty boring fight. And I think Sean Strickland has the edge in boring fights.
Yeah, true.
I think Paulo Costa, I don't think his ground game is good enough for him to take down Sean Strickland and do anything there.
It's going to pretty much come down to Sean's going to do the stock standard of walking forward, and then we're just going to see what Paulo does in that situation.
Exactly. And Sean Strickland has one of the best striking defense differentials in like the whole of the UFC.
Oh, yeah.
So I just don't see him struggling with this body kick, jab, overhand, body kick, jab, overhand. Like, I don't see it. So my money here is on Sean Strickland. The odds here are pretty interesting. It's minus 205 on Sean Strickland and plus 170 on Paulo Costa. It's very interesting that they have Paulo Costa as the favorite in this one and Sean Strickland as the underdog.
I think it's more... Actually, that's a very good question. That's actually, yeah, that's quite surprising. I think that's just coming off of popularity with Costa in terms of Twitter, hey? But that is a strange one.
Well, thanks be to the bookies. That's some value for me.
Yeah, true that, man.
All right, and moving on to the next fight that we have on the card. We have a middleweight bout between Kevin Holland and Mikhail Oleksiejczuk.
Impressive.
I fucking did it, man.
I can't.
I think I'm going to let you dive straight into this one.
So this one, personally, I think is a nice fight overall. You know, Kevin Holland's coming off like, he's got such a weird record, dude. He goes on like 3-5 tear, 5-5 tear, and then it was just win, loss, win, loss. He's been back and forth. He's coming off of the very boring fight against Michael Venom Page, where they basically just danced around the cage together for, was it 3 rounds? Eh?
It was 3 rounds.
For about 15 minutes. And then Mikhail's coming off of...
A spinning back kick, a spinning back elbow per round.
Wait, what?
MVP got a spinning back elbow every single round.
Yes, I confused me for a second. Yeah, so look, Kevin Holland's coming off of that, and then Mikhail is coming off that recent loss to Michel Poirer with those mean body shots. Oh my God. And Mikhail's also got a similar record. He goes on, he gets some good fights, gets some good wins, but then has a couple of losses and then loses 2 fights, wins 2, loses 1, goes on a 3-fight tear, loses 2. So, you know, he's all over the place, but he's definitely a guy who, not a lot of decisions, hey? Yeah. He's either knocking you out, submitting you, or he's on the receiving end. But
my guy is kill or be killed.
Yeah, all his decisions have come from the beginning of his career. And Kevin Holland lately, you know, look, maybe it's just because of the fights he's been having, but Kevin Holland hasn't really been able to show that dog that he showed, you know, in the COVID times.
But that's why I think this fight is perfect, because I think Kevin Holland is going to smush Mikhail.
You think so, eh?
Yeah.
But that depends. Like, look, Mikhail, like we said, is going to come out and just kill or be killed. And it's all going to come down to if Kevin's still got that dog in him, can he handle?
For me, it comes down to the quality of opposition.
Okay, yeah.
Mikhail has not fought the quality of opposition that Kevin Holland has. And whenever you are below Kevin's level,
that's true.
He beats the brakes out of you.
That's very, very true.
And the people who are above him, he pushes them to decisions.
Yeah.
So Kevin Holland very seldomly is getting like knocked out or finished by guys unless it's like some crazy mismatch, like when he fought Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of just the quality of opposition, how well-rounded Kevin Holland is right now, the form that he's in, I think Mikhail's going to get smushed. I think they made this fight so that Kevin can get back
on the whole,
groove, because Kevin Holland is the middleweight divisions. He's the middleweight and welterweight divisions, Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I don't mean that in terms of like he's knocking guys out. I mean that he's the guy where it's like, when shit hits the fan and we need an exciting fight, let's throw Kevin in.
Yeah. And another thing to go with your point is definitely size difference. Mikhail's got that proper short, stocky, small arm build. Kevin's that tall, lanky man, and he knows how to use his reach to his advantage, eh? Yeah. So,
and both of the guys here they're middleweight fighters, but they should be fighting at 170.
Yeah, so true.
They should be fighting at 170. These are the guys who will fit really well in this kind of 175 bracket that they're thinking about creating. But none of them are like full middleweights. Like you're going to see, Mikhail isn't going to be like built up with muscle. It's going to be the flab that's taking him over to middleweight. Yeah, so I think this is going to be an interesting one, but I think Kevin's going to take it by a landslide.
Interesting, man. I like it. Yeah. On, we got a heavyweight bout between Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. Now this one I quite like. Jailton Almeida doing a quick turnaround, coming off that loss against Curtis Blades. Which, look, I'm not hating on this guy, but I am so glad that somebody just like fraud checked him, because all Jailton Almeida does, like we said, was jab, front kick, shoot for a takedown. Jab, jab, shoot for a takedown. And then he wants to sit there for 15 minutes. And when you see him get up smiling, he has no issues doing that. He's more than happy to do that and get the win. So I'm really glad that Curtis Blades showed him, hey man, there's levels to this shit.
Yeah.
And now his opponent, Alexander Romanov, very interesting guy. His record's about like 13-2. And those 2 losses were very, very recent. Granted, he lost against Marcin Tybura, and then he got knocked out by Alexander Volkov. So not the greatest, like not the impressive people to lose to. But before that, look, he went on a tear. He's also got a lot of submissions to his name. So I think I personally think Jailton's gonna shoot for that takedown very quickly, and we're just gonna see what can Romanov do on his back. How good is his defense?
Yeah, I mean, exactly like you're saying, Jailton Almeida, I never like it when a guy comes back from a knockout this soon.
Yeah, true. It was very soon.
For me, that's always going to be a red flag for me.
Yeah.
I think what he's thinking is that because of his fighting style, he usually doesn't take a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a young fighter. Was that not his first loss ever? It might have been his first or a second loss, but he doesn't have many losses on his record. I always worry about that. This Alexander Romanov guy, he does have a little bit of power, and I know he's good on the ground. So I think that's going to be tricky. This might be a situation where the UFC is trying to potentially either bolster Jailton Almeida and then allow him to continue doing his thing in the division, maybe become some form of like pre-division gatekeeper before you get to the final boss of Curtis Blades. Or they're going to try and see if they can push up this Alexander Romanov guy. As we know, heavyweight division is the division where you can most easily and like most quickly kind of just rise up the ranks.
So true.
Because of how like hard it is. Like you can be kicking ass one day and then the next day get knocked out like terribly. And then like, you know, so it's always been such a tricky division to be in. And if you have some skill, they'll throw you right up there.
Yeah.
But it's whether or not you'll be able to survive. That top 5, top 8 in heavyweight is like, it's a bunch of guys who have been doing this shit for a while and they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. I think you're definitely right there. I think they like Jailton a lot. I think also they were very happy with this short turnaround with him, because like, I think they just want to keep him fighting, and just like you said, they definitely want to push him, because heavyweights, there hasn't been anyone. No, I wouldn't say new. There's been a lot of new people and a lot of fresh faces, but there hasn't been anyone rising through the ranks recently. And it's always nice to have that one guy that like, oh, look, there's that heavyweight prospect coming through, rising up.
And a new Brazilian. There's been no new Brazilian since like Verdum.
Oh, it's so true, dude. Exactly. And I think you make a perfect point, because now if Jailton wins, cool, he's better. Like, it's one of those ones where he lost, but because of the quick turnaround win, we all quickly forget about the loss. You know, oh, we all just forget about it. Jailton Almeida back on winning streak. Cool. But if Alexander can get the win and put on a good performance, well, then he just steals all his thunder. And now we all, instead of looking at Jailton, we all forget about him because he's on a 2-fight losing streak, and we all look at the guy who beat him. So I think the UFC's been very smart with this, putting both of these guys together. One of them was definitely going to rise through, probably have like a main event on Fight Night. And yeah, I'm quite excited for this fight. I don't want it to be a snooze fest. If it just becomes Jailton Almeida lying on a dude for 15 minutes, I was like, come on, man. Again? But, hey, man, if it ain't broke,
don't fix it. And starting off our UFC pay-per-view, we have a welterweight bout between Randy Rude Boy Brown and Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Now, dos Santos is such an interesting dude.
Very interesting.
Holy
like,
shit.
A lot of people, I don't think, know about this guy. Like, know enough about this guy.
This guy has finishes over the weirdest people. This dude has capoeira kick finishes. This dude has a win over Sean Strickland.
So weird, eh?
Right now, as we live and breed, this guy. Okay, so he started off as a capoeira-based dude,
Yeah.
and then split off into MMA, obviously. But he still maintains that super interesting capoeira type of movement, and his jiu-jitsu is very high level as well.
Okay.
He's got a strange record that kind of doesn't showcase how good he is.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, but he has also had some injury trouble in the past that kind of hindered him from being seen as much as possible. But I feel like right now he's at that stage in his career where things are starting to come together nicely and people are really starting to figure out who he is.
Nice.
And he's going up against Rude Boy!
Yeah, no, definitely. Another person that he also recently beat was Bernard Saint-Denis, who was rising to the lightweight division. He got a decision win over him. And then Elysiu's coming off that crazy draw where it was just two guys. If I'm not mistaken, it was just him and that the guy that...
Hinat Fakhreddinov.
Yeah, and they just like beat the crap out of each other, and it was just a really good fight, ended on a draw. And then, look, Randy Brown, Randy Brown's all over the place, man. He comes, puts on great performances, and then sometimes puts on poor performances. He's definitely a journeyman for sure. But I think this is one of those fights where, like you say now with Elysiu, they're taking the time, they're starting to know him, they're starting to figure him out. I think this is them like being like, okay, so you think you figured yourself out, here's Randy Brown. You know, here's Rude Boy. Let's see what you can do. You put in a good performance against him. Now we're talking potential top 15.
Yeah.
You know, so I think this is them trying to say, if you've got yourself figured out, let's see what you can do. But Rude Boy Brown, hey man, he always just puts on the show. I always watch his fights if it's on.
Yeah, Rude Boy, he's a pinpoint striker.
Yeah, man.
He's a lanky boy at welterweight.
It's true.
And he's a killer. He's got a lot of finishes on his record. And now, if we look at Dos Santos, he's got more means of victory. Because he's got the ground and he's got the stand-up. He has more means of victory. But Randy Brown's stand-up, I think, is still deadly. And it's still something to really, really worry about. I give the edge to Dos Santos on this one. But Randy Brown might just sneak a KO.
Fair enough, but you also know maybe Dos Santos has been working the hands because he knows who his opponent is for this camp. We don't know. That's the beauty of it. You will only find out on Fight Night. You know?
Woo!
But yeah, man. This card is this main card, it seems a bit like meh. People think it's meh, but I'm actually quite keen on it. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of names where it's like, hey, these guys could put on great performances. It's a good card for guys who are being slept on to show themselves. Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, so we're not really going to go into these fights too much, but I just wanted us to glance over some of these prelim fights.
Yeah, there's something to keep a point on.
So we've got Cesar Almeida versus Roman Kopylov. Then we have Grant Dawson versus Joe Selecki. Two guys coming off of horrible
I think they're
knockouts.
giving that to they're trying to build Grant up again. I think.
Exactly. We've got Phil, the podcaster Rowe.
Let's Jake Matthews
versus Jake motherfucking Matthews. This one's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm going to love this fight. I'm really excited.
Two solid strikers. This one's going to be great.
Keen for that.
And then another one in the welterweight division, Nico Price versus Alex Morono.
Just two veterans, two old bullies fighting it out.
Yeah, but it literally feels like two old bullies. Like it's two dads from across the street coming and meeting in the middle of the road.
It's the two drunk dads who, at like the kids' game, fight each other at the start. It's like you know what I mean?
Your boy's a goddamn liar.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it feels like.
Oh my gosh.
One or two on the early prelims to make note of. Mickey Gall, the youngest looking old man, is going up against Basil Hafev.
Yeah, Mickey Gall is not like a young up and comer anymore.
No, he's just looks
a person
like it.
Who has refused to broaden his skill set.
Yeah.
He has refused. He beat CM Punk and he was like, fuck it, I'm the WWE champ.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about anything else.
Very true. But yeah, man.
And yeah, and then opening the card up is Aylan Perez versus Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards was robbed when she fought in France. Holy shit. Oh my God. Bro, they took the money out of her pockets, dude.
Oof.
Out her fucking pockets.
And then another interesting one, our first fight of the entire evening, this Andre Lima versus, and apologies for this, Nawam Jagal, Jesus Christ, Tuma Demem, but bro, I apologize. Basically,
Nawam Jagal, Tuma Demem, fuck. That was way worse.
Yeah.
He's Mongolian.
Yeah,
I should have said that. What the fuck does that mean?
Basically, the only point I'm trying to make is both of these guys are undefeated. One's 8-0, one's 9-0. So this is definitely going to be a decent fight. And, you know, it's always cool to watch when someone's losing their O.
My money's on the Mongolian with the hard name.
Yeah, with that name. But he is the short replacement, to be fair. Andre Lima was the guy set and ready to go. This Mongolian guy, you know, it almost sounds like they went and got him off the mountain. They were like, guys, we need an undefeated flyweight. And they were like, one of Dana's old buddies was like, Dana, I know someone. And then we just had a montage of just like in an airplane, and there's a helicopter, and then the helicopter's flying to the top of a Mongolian mountain, and there's just a whole bunch of Mongolian monks, and then there's just like this dude, Nawamchagal, just like in the center of a room. After saying this, he better fucking win now. Like, I've just hyped him up in my mind.
If he loses, this will be hilarious.
No, my Mongolian monk, you better fucking win, dog.
No, my Mongolian brother.
My Mongolia bar.
Ooh, and that is INCS on MMA, UFC 302.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Let us know who you've got for these fights. Is Dustin finally going to get a taste of gold? Or is Islam going to just keep doing what he's constantly doing? You know, are all these guys going to make a name? Are we going to see some snooze fest decisions or some banging knockouts? Let us know.
Straight up. Let us know, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Woo! Woo!